It is clear that the world is not yet fully humane or peaceful. We still continue to experience these tragic symptoms of a cultural war. No matter how difficult or long it takes, talking is always better than fighting.
He's a zealot, he's a missionary. I mean, he is thoroughly, utterly, completely, totally committed to peace education and to doing peace and to making the world a more peaceful place. And he believes he can do it, he knows he can do it, and he's making believers of a whole lot of other people too, that it's not just him, but that each one of us can make a difference if we really commit ourselves.
I am deeply impressed with the man's humanity. His unfaltering faith in our goodness as human beings, and his unfailing efforts to bring that which is good in all of us out in the open.
I was born on a little island in the northwest of Malaysia, at that time British Malaya, and it was a very meaningful experience. It gave me living on a little island, and all of us, the sons and the one daughter, we did all the housework together. There was no distinction, as sometimes happen in Chinese Confucian families, that the boys would be favored over the women. Domestic work is for everyone, my mother stressed. So I learned from her the early value and the principle of gender equity. My father acted as an interpreter for a British soldier who was trying to escape from the Japanese army. And as a result, he, together with some other members of the village, was put into a prison camp. And he spent 3 years there, because it was quite a difficult experience. And he certainly did not express any bitterness. And I learned from that the value of forgiveness, of reconciliation.
Swee-Hin ended up working on his dissertation with me, which was a great privilege actually for me. He was very independent-minded. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. Peace education wasn't something that was recognized as something that's worth doing among us, the ordinary scholars and professors of education. So he, in a sense, opened up a new field.
The movement in support of the struggle against apartheid in South Africa, by the mid-70s, grown in Alberta on the campus. It became one of the biggest, in fact, anti-apartheid movement in North America. That convinced me that we cannot talk about a better world just in theory.
I think he has affected huge numbers of social studies instructors and other instructors in this province.
It was his teaching strategies that really influenced me in my way of teaching. I think perhaps my motto and my philosophy of teaching is don't bore your students. And Swee-Hin never let us get bored, because we're always doing these fun activities, pretending we're interviewing people or pretending we are street children or making rap songs to explain poverty in development.
We had an opportunity to spend some days of workshopping with soldiers. In those 3 days of workshopping, we were able to move the soldiers to looking into themselves more as Filipino human beings and trying to understand why there are so many conflicts in their country.
Professor Toh Swee-Hin of the University of Alberta, Canada, has won the 2000 UNESCO Prize for Peace Education.
His receiving the UNESCO Prize as Peace Educator of the Year is an immense achievement. This is the Nobel Prize in Education, and he's right in there with people like Paulo Freire and the Stockholm Peace Institute and Mother Teresa.
We were quite excited. We thought, here's finally someone who works quietly, works patiently, works tirelessly. This man rarely sleeps. We were quite impressed because finally, that kind of a person gets recognition.
all happened very quickly once he was diagnosed, and I was admitted to the University of Alberta hospital.
I called everyone I knew all over the world and told them exactly the time of the operation. So we had First Nations people praying, we had Buddhists praying in Australia and in Malaysia. We had the nuns, the priests in the Philippines, and all the friends. He needs to do a lot more work for peace. That's how we interpreted the very fast recovery also that he had, because after 3 days in the hospital, he was sent home.